Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Baron here, and we are flying the Yer-2 M105. We are doing today's tank task, which for me personally was one of the most difficult in terms of how many games it took me, and that was mostly due to poor decision making. Just like lining up these ground targets here, and then dropping 3 bombs on one target, which is what I just did. So that is just a little taste of the poor decisions I made today. So today's tank task is to kill 40 ground targets in arcade, or 20 in historical, or 5 in full real. However, you have to do it using what the game decides is our heavy bombers. So one of the problems that I came across is Germany doesn't have a heavy bomber. Now that is a problem in 2 ways. First of which, it is a problem for those players who only grinded up the German tech tree. And there's a decent amount of them actually. And you know what that means? Well, every other nation has a bomber. But the Germans don't. So what are they doing? They're flying up. If they have no other nation and there's no chance to accomplish this task for them, they are out there in force in their ME410s, Focke-Wulf 190s, and BF 109s, all just, oh my goodness, all those 20 and 30 millimeter cannons, like, they are destroying bombers. In most cases, if you do a normal historical battle, most German aircraft don't even bother to climb anymore. If they're paired up with the Russians, chances are, with assuming they're fitting within the tiers, that they are paired up against just almost entire teams made up of Yer-2s. And if they're against the Americans, there's likely to be almost all B-17s, maybe an occasional B-24. And they are angry that they can't participate, and they will shoot you down so fast and so hard. This mission took me 7 games to accomplish. This is the last one. I needed 7 targets, and well, I got it, but it takes me a little while to figure out where to go. I was thinking about following that B-17, thinking, hey, maybe there's a AAA over there, but I decided to turn back this way, and it was a gamble because things start to develop. But let me get back to basically some warnings and some advice for this task. My warnings are this: if you are doing it in historical, do not. I would totally recommend shying away from just jumping into a straight historical battle. Right now, the last 3 games I played, which I combined for a total of, I believe it was, 16 of the 20 happened in the last 3 games. The first 4 games, I got a total of 4 kills. 2 kills, and then another 2 kills. So 2 of those games, I got skunked because I got shredded in the air. I think one of the times was by a Kai 102 when I got paired against the Japanese. And then the other time was an ME410 who was very hungry and very angry. And here's a little fighter coming in. I'm like, at this point, morale is low in my Yer-2. I can promise you that. There's only 4 ground targets, and there's a Yer-2 over there, and I'm like, what is going to happen? Will I even be able to get one? In my mind, I'm like, I'm going to ram this if I have to. I will absolutely ram this. But stay away from traditional historical battles. That was a nice thing to see. Those 2 guys crash, meaning that guy couldn't kill these tanks, and I wouldn't have to worry about someone shooting me down before I could get my last kill in the event that I missed this bomb. So go for basically the missions. Use operations. It pits everybody against everybody, which basically allows, like in this case, there may be, out of, I think it was 6, there was 1 or 2 fighters on each team, and the rest were bombers. So most people are in the same boat. Generally, you'll have bombers kind of waving to each other in the air, passing each other, saying, hey, today's a tough day, I hope you have fun out there. But I tell you what, man, it took me 7 games. The last 3 I switched to operations, and I really regret going into historical battles. Although one of the operations I got 3 kills, and it was over Peleliu, and that map, like, not once. I just had bad luck today. The other couple days I've had pretty good luck and pretty good skill combined. It worked out very well. So I'm showing over this, and then I actually take a look into arcade right after this. So if you're thinking about doing an arcade, we're going to take a look at what it's like out there. But I was over Peleliu, which the map kind of sucks in that you have to wait for the landing craft to drop off tanks. And I only got 3 kills. I was like, oh, I'm not getting shot at. I got shot at like once or twice. My air cover was pretty good. Well, my air cover was too good. They wiped out the entire enemy team almost right as the landing craft started to land. So if you look at that queue right there, it's clear to see that since all these bombers are between 11 and 14, I believe, or 11 and 15, the vast majority of people playing bombers are in Russian Yer-2s. I went Russian Yer-2 because it was the cheapest. I also had the option of buying the B-17, but I figured the Yer-2 was a little more maneuverable. I'm not entirely sure if it was the best choice for historical. I'm wondering if the B-17 would not have been better, or even one of the Japanese, maybe the Death Star. That would have been pretty good too. But my luck was not good today. I got maps, whenever we did get a decent map, like a European theater map, I was always the team that had to go up against the tanks, as opposed to the static defenses like AAA and artillery and things like that. So, not once did I get a map. I mean, aside from this one, which was my 8th game, and this was just for fun to check it out. So I wanted to see how many, I was assuming arcade was going to be filled with heavy bombers, and I thought it would be rather difficult to get ground kills, as there's, generally only 30 or something like that, between 30 and 40, and you need 40 arcade ground kills to finish this task. I wonder if I should have tried it in arcade. Give it a go once or twice, because historical is really hit or miss, even in operations. If you get a Pacific map and you're a heavy bomber, that's kind of tough, especially if you're never the one going after, I never got to attack midway. I was defending midway. My team, it's just tough. And then look at this. All these fighters in a row. There's 4 fighters in this little derp line here. All of them are going after ground targets. So I see this little convoy in the back, and I decided to check it out. So I highly recommend, if you're doing this in historical, avoid traditional historical battles. Use operations. It is far better. You won't be paired up against an entire team of German bomber hunters, which is not fun. You will get wiped out within 2 minutes. I think arcade may be worth a go, and I'm not entirely sure if the Yer-2 was the best bet. So let me know, which bombers did you use, which mode did you play in, how many times did it take you? Because this took me 7 turns, mainly because of the things I told you. I did not listen. My advice was developed through heartache and very low morale. And now you're going to get to see me derp, where I think I'm going to use my elevator to flip up, but I zoom in and I crash. But even how derpy that was, I was able to get 6 kills, which would have been the equivalent of 3 in historical. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you did and how you did it. Anyway, I'm Baron, and as always, thank you for watching, and I hope you completed this task. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Baron here, and yes, I'm playing World of Tanks, and I'm driving my T-28. Driving the T-28 because I want to grind up to the KV-1 to kind of experiment with what it would be like to drive a pretty good heavy tank in World of Tanks. Now, I know a lot of you are here for War Thunder, and a lot of you are excited for War Thunder tanks, but I think it's safe to say that the majority of us have our World of Tanks accounts,